pretty tight to run when we were behind you.
Yeah, you were good coming right there. I was too loose. We tightened up that run.
Okay, let's roll into our post-race for today's 35th annual Hisense 300 NASCAR Xfinity Series race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We're joined by our race runner-up, Austin Dillon, and also our fourth-place finisher, I believe in just his second career NASCAR Xfinity Series race, and that's Cole Custer. Austin drives the number 2 Rheem Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing, and Cole drives the number 88 Haas Automation Chevrolet for Junior Motorsports. Let's go to you first, Austin. Certainly that last restart, a lot of strategy, a lot of things going on. Tell us what you all did and how you worked your way up there to second.
Well, we had to take 2 tires because of all the debacle early in the race, and we fired off pretty good with it. So we figured there at the end, if we could come out first, we're going to have a pretty decent shot at it. And restarting third there, good Lord gave us a restart for the end, and that was very good. So I wish I could have stayed even with the 42 going down the backstretch, but the 18 gave him such a big shove that he was able to clear me going into 3. So if that would have happened, I think it would have been me in the 22 racing for the win there. But just proud of my guys for the effort. We just got a lot of work to do to catch the next little group of cars, and I think if we do that, we'll have a shot to win some more races.
Thank you, Austin. And Cole, certainly what a showing you had out there today. Talk about what it was like racing out here at Charlotte Motor Speedway and what you learned and how you thought you performed.
Yeah, I ended up really happy with where we ended up there. We had a good call there at the end, taking 2 tires and kept some of our track position, and was just able to make some things happen there on the last restart. But they brought a great car here. I can't thank all of them enough. They didn't start out that great. We got some damage on pit road, but was able to work our way back up there and ended up pretty well.
Questions for Cole or Austin? Raise your hand. We'll take a couple questions. We'll start here on the front row. Then we'll go to Chris Knight, and then Bob Pockers, and then Stan.
Second tan's ready, front stretch for Cole. You pretty much tied for a top 5 at Richmond, so what does this mean to you to get that top 5 today at Charlotte?
It means a lot. I mean, as a driver, you're always trying to get more, trying to win, but obviously I'm really happy having the top 5 and just trying to work up to it, hopefully get a little bit better on myself throughout the year, and just I know they're going to bring some great cars to the track, so I'm just going to be trying my best to do my job.
All right, let's go to Chris Knight. Raise your hand, then we'll go to Bob Pockers.
Chris Knight, catchfence.com. Cole, seems like you're making audition that you belong in the Xfinity Series full-time next season with these good finishes. You have some more races coming up. Is that what you're trying to do, is prove that you belong here and can compete with the big guys here full-time?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely always trying to compete with all the Cup guys and everything. I mean, you really learn a ton from them. And just proving and trying to gain some respect, trying to just know that you can race with them, but definitely trying to just get better every single race.
Bob Pockers.
Bob Pockers, ESPN. Austin, with a different tire now in Xfinity than in Cup and pretty significant different aero package, is there anything you take from today for tomorrow?
Very tough. The tire has been quite a bit different for the Cup cars. I've been struggling with it since we got here compared to the other tire, and I think it will put on a better race tomorrow. I think everybody will be sliding around. I really thought the Cup cars were quite a handful compared to the Xfinity cars all weekend long. So it might be something good to try and put the good years we got on the Cup cars in the Xfinity Series for the next race. It'd be something to try.
Go ahead, Stan.
Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. Cole, you've obviously run some races here in the Truck Series. What's the biggest thing you learned about this track that was different today?
I think actually, in the truck, I felt like the top worked better. It might just be because less guys were running up there, but definitely it seemed like the top worked better in the truck. But really, there's a lot of differences aero-wise and everything, but it's similar how you run the place and what you're trying to do. But it definitely helped running that race.
Any questions in the press box? No questions in the press box?
Nothing in the press box.
Okay, we got one more right here. Finish up with this gentleman here, and then we'll turn him loose.
Jacob Seelman, Race Chaser Online and Performance Motorsports Network. I've actually got one for each of you. Austin, for you, was there any hesitation when the last caution came out? Was it immediate? We're pitting, we're getting tires, and that's our only shot to win this race?
No, not really a hesitation, because the only way we were going to win is do something opposite of the other guys. Our car wasn't strong enough to win the race straight up, so we had to do something different, and I think we made the best call possible there. Something goes just a little bit better our way right there, we actually win the race, I think. You know, the 18 had 4, but it just fell perfect for him where he got in line and made that top line roll. We lost track position early in the race, and I don't know why, but it put us behind, and we had to kind of fight back from that most of the day, so proud of the second place finish.
And Cole, 4th in your second start. Is this expectations for you, above expectations? This would seem to be a breakout for you, just your second start in this Xfinity car.
I think I knew that we had the potential and the resources and everything to run this good, so I'm not really surprised, I guess. Like, I think we definitely had the capability of doing it, but I mean, you're always looking to do better, so I think you know, you're always looking to win races, so we can do that, that would be great, but I'm really satisfied with a top 5.
Austin, Cole, thanks for putting on a great performance today. Good luck the rest of the season. Austin, good luck tomorrow afternoon.
Thanks.
Okay, our top finishing NASCAR Xfinity Series regular is Justin Allgaier. He comes in with a 5th place finish here today. He drives the number 7 Suave men's Chevrolet for Junior Motorsports, and Justin certainly battling it all day today. That last overtime, talk about that and how that played out for you.
Yeah, I mean, we had definitely a tough day. You know, our Suave men's Chevy wasn't nearly as good in practice as what we wanted to be. And throughout the race, we fired off and you know, maintained, but really didn't have the sheer speed that we were looking for. And Jason Burdett and the boys did a great job in the pits, you know, making good pit calls and adjustments on the car, and then obviously having good pit stops. And, you know, obviously coming down to the end of the race there, you know, Jason made a great call to put 2 tires on. As Austin said, you know, I think that was the right call. That was definitely the right call. It just worked out that the 4 tires prevailed, but you know, we were able to hang there and get a good solid day out of it. You know, I think at the end of the day, anytime we can, you know, battle it out and keep learning on these mile and a halves, we feel like that's our weakness at Junior Motorsports, is the mile and a half program. So obviously Cole having a great day, us getting a top 5, and Elliott being really fast until they had their issues early in the race. So feel good about where our company's at as a whole, and we'll definitely keep working on these Camaros and try to get them up there where we can battle for wins every week.
Good deal. Questions for Justin? If you have one, raise your hand, please. Start right here on the front row, and they'll go back to the gentleman there in the middle.
Second turns very fun stretch. When the oil was down in turns 3 and 4, I don't know if you ran through it or not. Did you experience any issues with that incident? You know, the oil was weird because it was really hard to see today for whatever reason. And then when you would get to it, you literally were right on top of it before you would see it. So I tried to do everything I could to miss it. Not going to say that I did a great job of it, but at the end of the day, I didn't lose any spots because of it. But I know that it was definitely interesting, you know, how much oil was down over the course of the day. Not something that we would typically see at a mile and a half like this. So, you know, the track crew did a good job trying to work it in the best they could. It's just, you know, when you've got a hot, slippery racetrack that's already, you know, that boiling hot, and you're trying to put hot oil on top of it, it just doesn't settle well.
Go back to the middle there. Go ahead.
Jacob Seelman, Race Chaser Online Performance Motorsports Network. I've kind of got a 2-part question, Justin. Part 1, as far as you guys in Junior Motorsports really being a new pairing together this year, what are some of the challenges and some of the good points too of you guys kind of having to learn to mesh, but at the same time going out and being able to contend for these top 5s?
Well, I think one of the things that's been a huge help for us this year is the integration of the chase. You know, that's been something that put my crew chief, Jason Burdett, and I, and really my whole team into a position where we don't necessarily have to feel like every week we have to finish, you know, those races and finish well. We want to, obviously that's the main goal, you want to win races, but you also have to get outside the box. we all talk about it. Obviously the Gibbs organization is really, really strong right now, adding another win today. We're all chasing that. And I think from my standpoint, we're constantly pushing. This weekend we kind of all three came with something a little bit different to try and make things better. And I know that the guys back in the shop, they're working their tails off to try and make race cars better. Chevrolet, Hendrick Engine Department. I mean, everybody that puts a hand on these cars is working really hard. So that's been the hardest part. It's just being a little bit behind from the start of Daytona and trying to catch up. The good part is for me is I've got a great group of guys. I mean, it honestly has been the most seamless, easy transition that I've ever made into a race car, as far as just getting to know the guys and seeing how they work, and they understand how I work. And when you're happy and you're having fun and you're going out there and you're running well every week, it's easy to have everybody on board and to fire out of the box strong and to have good finishes at the beginning. I feel like we all kind of gelled really quickly because of it. So that made it really nice.
And to build on that a little bit, when that third car, the 88, when you come out and have somebody like Cole who jumps in his second start and goes and beats you, runs fourth, does that kind of help you guys not only take some notes away, but push you to be a little better when he jumps in and just goes like gangbusters?
Well, I mean, obviously, Alex Bowman did it in the 88. A couple weeks ago at Dover, did a great job, and Cole did a great job today. I mean, the one thing for sure is that the 88 has been very strong this year. They won at Daytona. They won at Richmond. I mean, they have been kind of the front marker of our group. So watching these guys jump in and run well is not really a surprise to me, just because I know all the guys that are getting in. I know their backgrounds. I know how talented they are. And I told Cole as soon as the race was over, he did a great job today. I mean, he was on it, no question, and those guys did a great job. So, I think Elliott would have been right there with us contending for a top 5, and I think as a company, when you get into that grind of going every week and pushing each other each and every week, it is sometimes it can be sometimes hard to race every week and to not get stale or stagnant. And so having those guys come in and push us and we learn from them, I think it definitely helps the whole organization.
Go over here to Chris.
Chris Knight, catchance.com. Justin, this is the first of 20 straight races in 21 weeks for the Xfinity Series. I think there's only one off weekend between now and when you guys come back to, I think here, actually it's in Kansas in October. How important is it? How important is this stretch not only for you guys but for Junior Motorsports as an organization?
Well, I mean, I think this stretch is something that you can make or break a season. And I know we talk about the chase all the time and getting down to those final 7 races, but this middle part of the season, you've got to keep cars in inventory. You got to make sure that your best pieces are on the racetrack, but you also have to manage those race cars, because at the end of the day, we only have so many bullets. And so, we're trying to make sure that when we get to the chase, we have the best cars that we possibly can. The other part of that, though, is, like I said, R&D. We're constantly trying to learn these cars and learn new things, and adding bump stops this year, that's thrown everybody for a little bit of a curve. And there's so many variables that I think play into it that for us, this summer stretch, making sure that we maintain and also keep learning at the same time is going to be a big deal. So, I'm relying on a great team for that. Junior Motorsports has done a phenomenal job in this series for the last number of years. I remember battling them in other teams when I was in the Xfinity Series, and obviously super pumped up to be a part of it. So I know these guys have what it takes to do that. It's just a matter of making sure that we do all the right things, and when the chase rolls around, that we're not completely worn out and all of our race cars aren't completely worn out.
Well, Justin, congratulations on a strong showing, and certainly good luck the rest of the year, and see you at Pocono.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Justin. Okay, we're going to hear from our race winner, and his race team has joined us here. Denny Hamlin wins the 35th annual Hisense 300 NASCAR Xfinity Series race here today, driving the number 18 Hisense USA Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's joined by his crew chief Chris Gayle and Steve Souza, who's the executive vice president of Xfinity and development at Joe Gibbs Racing. This is Denny's 15th career NASCAR Xfinity Series victory. His first NASCAR Xfinity Series win at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So, Denny, congratulations on this win. Certainly it was an interesting race. You were strong there early on and had a few things happen there to you, but then on that last restart, you got a couple tires, I guess, and then you were off to the races. Talk about this win here today.
Yeah, it was I thought that realistically we probably had the best car all day. I just didn't get very good restarts. That's really the only time we would get past is on restarts. The 42 had a good long run car. I think second run of the day and got around us, but then we started coming back to them there towards the end. So I really had a great car, and then obviously we had that penalty and had to go to the back, and really I drove as hard as I could that last run and got back up to third, but we needed a caution to get caught up, and we got it, and it worked out to where I was willing to do whatever the opposite of the guys in front of me, which that's the tough spot it puts the leaders. But I mean, we have a Goodyear tire now that wears out, and it gives crew chiefs an option to come in here and take tires and make a charge at the end. So that's why you saw some of the great racing we saw, and it was obviously a great break for us to get that caution.
And Chris, Gayle, just talk about some of the moves that you all made today on pit road. It was definitely a team win here today.
Yeah, it definitely was. I think we had a good car, like Denny said, and I thought we were the strongest in the first half of the race, and then maybe we needed to adjust on it a little bit. We did, and then we lost a little track position early, and I think that kind of hurt us. But then I think even once we got, had the pit road penalty, that was the big game changer. And we still probably had the best car if you'd watch lap time. So that last run, we just happened to be restarting 16th or whatever it was, and then it just took a while to get back there. But like Denny said, pretty much without that caution, we were stuck. We were going to finish third. Thankfully, you just got the caution, and then you obviously heard us discuss kind of what to do, and it's a tough situation. Yes, the leaders are sitting ducks, but we decided to come get tires. I kind of left it on Denny to decide, but it's not fair to him. Either way, it could work out or not work out. If 3 more cars had stayed out, might have been in trouble, might not have got there, but it worked out great. Restart on the outside in 6th, and I think that was the key. 4 tires, and in that restarting position, he was able to take advantage of it, did a great job.
So you took 4 and you were starting 6 on that last restart. That's quite a move up through the field there. Congratulations. Thank you. And Steve, certainly another feather in the cap for Joe Gibbs Racing. This is the, I believe, 7th consecutive National Series points win for Toyota, dating back to William Byron's NASCAR Camping World Truck Series victory at Kansas. So another stout performance in the Toyota camp, and just talk about, JGR and I know you guys and gals put a lot of emphasis in that Xfinity program.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. I got to say, right before that last restart, my shirt was perfectly dry, so I was sweating bullets when they'd made that call. But I got to say that, Chris and his team and Denny made an awesome call, and Denny just got up on the wheel, which has been fun to watch all these years, starting early in Denny's early career, so it's really fun. Special win for him and for us to watch him do that. And yeah, the partnership with Toyota has been phenomenal, and the guys at the shop, all of our teams, all 3 teams over on the Xfinity side work unbelievably hard together. And obviously the dividends are there. All 3 teams are running well, and so Chris has been a big help. He's our senior crew chief over there now, so he's been helped kind of mentor and guide those guys, and they work extremely hard and well together, and obviously the performance on the racetrack has been demonstrating that.
We'll take some questions now for our winning team. We'll start back here with Jacob and then go to Bob and then to Stan. Jacob, Bob, and Stan.
Jacob Seelman, Race Chaser Online Performance Motorsports Network. I've got 2 for you, Denny. First, that last restart, 4 tires, restart in 6th. What's going through your mind knowing that you may not even have the full 2 laps to try to get to the front, but you've got to find a way, especially coming back from 16th or so after that penalty? I mean, I think we all thought you were out of it at that point.
Yeah, it was. I mean, but our car was just fast. I mean, that helps a lot when you have a car that has speed. I just caught in the moment. I forgot to tell him to make an adjustment when we did come down pit road on that last stop. I knew that, I would have much rather started like 8th on the outside than I would have like 5th on the inside with 4 tires. It gives you the opportunity to run the wide lane through 1 and 2 and make up a lot of ground, which we did. I gave the 42 a push down the back straightaway, which cleared him of whoever he was beside. and then I shot the middle of him in that other car, whoever it was, and got to second pretty quick. So that's kind of the turning point, I thought of it. But I mean, I knew we had a fast car. I was just disappointed that I lost some track position on some restarts throughout the day. So got to get a little bit better at those. But overall, the car drove like I expected it, like it did in practice, and we gave ourselves a shot to win.
And secondly, and this is kind of in two parts, high sense car, high sense race. I know how big a deal that is for you to be able to deliver for the sponsor. So talk a little bit about that. But two, as far as jumping in this 18 car and finally going to victory lane, Kyle's already had 4 wins this season. I mean, does it raise the bar for the rest of you guys that have to jump in that car when he's already gone out this year and done what he's done?
Yeah, I think as far as the sponsor thing, it is huge. I mean, obviously this is their title weekend. They've been a great partner of myself and JGR for the last few years. Had a lot of success with them last year in the Xfinity series. So, they've really stepped up their activation with their sponsorship and really done a great job of supporting Joe Gibbs Racing. And really the results are showing on the racetrack. So thank them for that. And obviously they do a lot for our sport as a whole by sponsoring the weekend. So it's great to win the title sponsor race, obviously, but to do it in that type of fashion is always a little extra feather in the cap. But as far as driving the 18 car, it's always more pressure. I mean, a lot of it is my inexperience in the Xfinity series. Even though I've been doing Cup for a long time, these cars drive a lot different. So I kind of leaned on Chris to not let me get too far off base with adjustments in the car during practice. So I have a little bit different style than what Kyle does. But obviously he's got a great baseline setup that showed up this weekend, and we didn't adjust a whole lot, but we had to change a little bit for me, and it was good enough. So definitely one of the better mile-and-a-half cars I've driven in a long time for this group.
Let's go to Bob, and then we'll go to Stan.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Denny, can you talk about kind of how you felt when you were going to have to restart there after the penalty? And also, I heard you on the radio say, I'm giving them a cushion, but it sounded like there's some confusion of where you should actually be restarting there.
Yeah, you're supposed to restart tail in unless guys wave over, or unless guys lay over. And so my job was to get to the tail end of all the cars that were lead lap and 1 lap down, and then leave a buffer. And I left about an 8 to 10 car buffer from whoever was in front of me to allow the wave around cars to come around the racetrack and then get in front of me. But the problem was all the wave around cars were cars that were multiple laps down, or they had damage, so they weren't wanting to get up there on the restart. So at that point, I waited all the way until turn 4 to catch up to the pack. So I gave everyone an opportunity to get up there as far as they could. But if they don't want to go up there and race, I'm trying to win the race, so I'm going to try to go up there as far as I can. So I was laying back and actually got a really bad restart because off of turn 4, I was sitting there trying to wave everybody past me. But if they're not going to go, they're not going to go. So I think the 11 had a penalty on that restart as well, and he was right beside me. So we did the best we could, but obviously things played out where it really didn't matter because we still came off pit road. We got all the way out to 3rd, and we would have got there anyway. And then the strategy played out. The new tires were going to win anyway, and it just all worked out for us.
Go to Stan and then Chris. Go ahead, Stan.
Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com, Denny, both for you and for Chris. Is there anything that you learned this morning during the Cup practice, or Chris, that you saw during the Cup practice that helped you come up with a total setup that you felt would take you to victory lane?
First, you'll make Not really. I mean, so our setup is done. It's 7:45 to 8:15 this morning. We're in line. So pretty much we can't do anything more than air pressure past that point. So before they've ever gotten on the racetrack in a Cup car. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't talk to the crew chiefs over there, that I didn't talk to Wheels about some adjustments they made, just thinking about whether this would help me in the race or not. But you have to be a little careful because the cars are different. We're not even on the same tires between the 2 series here. So you kind of have to be a little, use what you can, but be cautious about it. And then obviously, I think one of the things that shows what JGR is doing really well is we're communicating between both shops, Xfinity, Cup. You know, if you look at the crew chief path over here, a lot of us were ex-race engineers, so we're all very well connected and know each other. So there's this freedom to talk between the two buildings and the two series and transfer information and make everybody better.
Let's go to Chris, far right.
Chris Knight, CatchFence.com. Denny, last 2 years, got Hisense sponsorship, 3 wins and a second place finish. Do you have any more races with Hisense this season? And you know.
The only race I know I have is Darlington. Is the only one. So I'm batting 1,000 right now, so I want to run as few as possible so I can keep that. Yeah, I think it's a Sport Clips race too, that one. But I've got a great relationship with all the Hisense folks, and you know, we've done really well with them. So I'd like to get back in victory lane with them again soon for sure.
Any more questions for the number 18 team? Well, congratulations on this win here today, Denny and Steve and Chris, and continued best of luck the rest of the year. And Denny, certainly best of luck here late tomorrow.
Thank you.